taken by Professor Lavina, who is an expert in marketing field in the field of marketing. And about Taxila, we are a business school in Jaipur. Our focus is on creating donors for the world. And why this is important is to create donors for the world is a person can be a donor only when they are fully satisfied and equipped themselves, when they have their own fundings and money and everything in place, right? And then only a person can become a big donor. And that's the whole focus for Taxila, that you do good for the society and you are able to do something good for your family and for your living in your society and your community. And that's the whole purpose. And the mini MBA in marketing, we have been doing a lot of mini MBAs in marketing, business analytics, finance, HR, human resource and retail and other fields, because we have expertise in working in those areas. And today what we are doing is a 2-day session on marketing. Professor Lavina would be taking this session. The whole structure for this session would be, she'll be talking to you for around 60-65 minutes, and then she'll take some question answers for day 1 and day 2. After day 2, you can download your certificate from Taxila's website. You can go to taxila.in/events and click on mini MBA in marketing and download your certificates from there. So treat this as an experience for next 2 days on how marketing works. Get some additional ideas on marketing and how you can use marketing as a business owner or a student when you start your own businesses or work in companies and all. So treat it like this. Lavina ma'am, you are there, then please unmute yourself and maybe start your camera so you can test your video and everything. And we'll start in a minute. So creating donors for the world is the whole purpose for Taxila, and that's the core value in our mission and vision, right? To create donors for the world. And for you to become a donor, you need to improve yourself. Each of you as a participant should get something out of these 2 days you're spending with us and do something good for the society and the community. So that's the whole purpose. Professor Lavina, please go ahead and start the session.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Please share and I'll close.
I'll share my screen first. Good morning, everyone.
Maybe you can ask some question like which they can type in the chat window so that we know that there are a number of participants who are there, and then we can start the session. So please define what is marketing. In the chat window in one line, please write down what marketing is, and then we'll take it forward from there.
Yes.
So please go ahead. We'll be closing the chat after 5 minutes, and then we'll enable the chat as and when you want in the session.
All right. So I hope everyone can see my presentation here. I'm sharing a window here. I hope that's visible to everyone. With this mini MBA in marketing, where I intend to give you a brief insight on how marketing generally works. See, first of all, I think I'm receiving a lot of messages here. And, you know, as sir has asked you, what is marketing? So I'm receiving a lot of definitions here. It's the performance of business activities. All right. Okay. So this is promoting a business. It's a wider concept, and it's all about putting your things in front of people and convincing them to buy your product. Okay. So, and then marketing is all about creating a need. It's creating the customers. It's meeting the consumer needs profitably and satisfying them. Yes. Lots of definitions. I completely understand that you have, you know, some kind of a vague idea about what marketing is. So let's get into the details to make you understand what is the relevance of studying marketing. You know, as a marketing professor, I have a special bent of mine, and I consider this marketing as one of the special subjects which I generally teach. Why am I saying it is so special for me? Because let me tell you, this subject is something which is very volatile in nature. And in fact, it is something which is alive. Why am I using this word alive is because, you know, it is visible to every one of you. It is very lively because each and every one of us comes, you know, we all come across to marketing. And if you talk about any walks of your life, you always find marketing around. Right from the beginning, when when your company starts thinking about a product, when the company starts thinking about formulating a strategy or understanding the market, it is all about marketing. And see, marketing involves so many things with it. It's not only that if you were a commerce student, you need to have an idea about marketing. Even if you are from science background or arts background, you will always see that marketing is playing its important role. It's all about, if you see the strategy formulation, or maybe if you talk about the economics, where you try to understand the gross domestic product, or maybe per capita income of people around, right? You need to have an idea about economics when you conduct those marketing activities. Let me also talk about psychology here. Marketing is involving psychology along with it. Psychology, because you're trying to understand the human behavior. Human behavior of whom? Human behavior of your consumers around, of those people who are working within your organization, or maybe they are external to your organization. So you are trying to understand the economics, you're trying to understand the psychology. It is also incorporating the sociology with it, right? So I would say marketing is a subject which has a lot of perspectives. And when you start thinking about marketing, you have to understand marketing from different angles. Right? So you cannot say that just marketing is all about management. Marketing is all about each and every aspect, each and every subject, each and every domain, because you cannot work without marketing. So it's a very rewarding subject, I would say. Work with whichever intention you have, right, regarding your business or your own job, you need to do marketing, and that's very, very important. I always say it is something very dynamic in nature. Marketing is considered to be dynamic in nature. Like a lot of people here have given me the definitions that marketing is all about understanding the consumers in the market. Now see, if you are understanding the consumers, that means you're trying to understand the psychology of the consumers here, right? Which is very dynamic in nature. You never know at what point of time the needs and demands might change. At what point of time, the consumers might come out with some different angle and different perspective. And you as a marketer, you need to keep a constant eye on your consumers, on the technological development taking place in the business environment. So therefore, I always say it is very, very dynamic in nature. Right? So each one of us definitely understand that marketing is something which is understood from a different perspective. And it is not a function, not just a function, I would say. Because when we say it's marketing, so marketing is not just a new advertisement campaign the company comes up in the market. Or maybe marketing is not something whereby you come up with some kind of a promotional scheme in a month. No, your marketing won't end here. Right? It is something which is pervasive in nature. It has to keep on happening. It cannot be time bound. In fact, when I'm using the word that marketing is pervasive in nature, I hope this pervasiveness of marketing need to be understood. Because, each and every person who is working in the organization has a marketing work. You cannot just say that marketing is a work of only of the marketing department. No. Anybody, right from the receptionist of your organization to the board of directors, they all are performing the marketing work, right? Because, each and every person who is working in your organization is a face of your organization. Whenever you talk about your institute, whenever you talk about your company, that means somewhere you're doing some kind of a marketing action or activity for your company. If you meet somebody, you talk about your company, you say something good or bad, either you give it a word of mouth publicity or negative publicity. So this is nothing but again a part of marketing. Yes, I will definitely say it's not a job or it's not something which is fooling the customer, right? I'm not saying that you are falsifying the image of the company around, but you're talking about something which is authentic. And that's what marketing is all about, right? You're trying to include so many things into it. You're trying to include your consumers. You're trying to include your, people, those who are working with you, right? And you are integrating the if I would say effort and activity of each and every people around, right? Because whenever we say that marketing is all about consumers, so when you try to understand the consumer, you try to meet their demands and expectations accordingly, right? You design your product accordingly, right? So this is nothing but it's a kind of a systematic process which starts within an organization, and it has a lot of people who will be involved in that marketing activity, designing your product, and also creating a substantial relationship, not only with your employees in the organization, but with your customers, but with your suppliers, and but with your retailers and wholesalers and your distributors, so many people around, including diverse nature into it, right? So marketing is not just a function, not one single function, but it is involving so many things with it. Now see, when we talk about marketing, like I just read one of the definition here, which says that business houses, they have the intention of earning profit. Yes. The organizations, they have the intention of earning profit. But that does not mean that the marketing will be taking place only in those organizations without the profit-oriented companies. Even when you talk about the not-profit or non-profit organizations, right? Even they get into the marketing efforts, marketing activities. Because, for example, they have any kind of a campaign. Maybe they want to get into some kind of a project where they need donations. So if they want to talk about their project, in order to get that donation from those well-off people in the society, they have to market their project. So be it your profit organization or non-profit organization, each and every organization has to have, some bent of mind and inclination towards the marketing activities. Because somewhere or the other, it would be determining the success or the failure of your organization as a profit-earning organization or a non-profit organization. So you have to understand that you have to establish a distinct image, a different kind of image in the society. Now the question comes, the very important question. Each and every marketer, each and every company is striving hard, right, to create its distinguished position and identity in the market, right? So each and every person is involving itself, into some kind of marketing activity. But where is the difference? The difference comes when all of them start thinking out of the box. Out of the box thinking is very important because all are working on the same platform. You see so many homogeneous products in the market. There is similarity in the product offerings. You have similar kind of services being offered by those marketers around. Then what is so unique and different in you? Maybe the way you present it, maybe the way you convince your consumers, maybe the way you are positioning your product in the market. Anyways, in any form, you're just trying to establish a different kind of an image because you're thinking out of the box. Talk about all the FMCG products in the market. What are they generally doing? They're giving you the similar kind of products. How is one product different from another? And how is the consumer taking a decision that I need to buy one over the other? Here comes the role of the marketer. Because you have to make your consumers understand that I'm better than the other competitors in the market. That's the work of a marketer. Now, this cannot be done unless your marketing strategies are different from those of the other competitors around. So this cannot happen if you do not think out of the box. So there comes, marketing is all about creativity. Marketing is all about innovativeness. And that is the, I would say the zest of marketing, right? The key to success depends how creatively and how innovatively you can work with your marketing efforts, right? Marketing activities, be it your advertising, your sales promotion campaigns, right? Be it your positioning strategy or anything you talk about. See, we have always understood and we've been trying to say that marketing occurs at each and every walks of our life, right? In fact, I would say right from birth to our death, we need services, we need products, right? And I would say that at each and every point of time, these marketing activities, they're affecting our decision-making. Very, very important and very crucial, in fact. So what is important over here is that if in this dynamic environment, if in the environment which is not considered to be static in nature, if the organizations or the companies, they're not coming up with some kind of creativity and innovativeness, you won't be able to establish your distinguished position. And if you are not adopting yourself, if you're not changing yourself as per the change in the internal and external market forces, your survival is a big question mark, right? These kind of companies, I would say, those who are really not paying attention to understand those internal and external market forces, they are prone to failures. They cannot consider, they cannot really strive, or maybe they cannot be a part of this competitive market. I would say a hyper competitive environment, right? Each and every organization, if it has to exist, if it has to, survive long-term sustainable position, right? It has to see that there are so many market forces which are impacting your business. And in this hyper competitive environment, you need to change yourself frequently. That's the need of an hour. Now, we have a very clear-cut understanding that marketing has to go on and on, right? It is a long-going process. It is something which is pervasive in nature, but because it exists at each and every part of our life, right? Be it your business, where you want to procure the raw materials and the different components around, right? You need to have a good term relationship with the people who are your suppliers. Maybe if you talk about arts, that's again one of the ways. Exhibitions of the paintings, the sculptures, right? And you have those exhibitions where, you present it. So you need to have a good dealing with your suppliers, or maybe those who are organizing this event. You talk about the retailers in the market, as simple as that. Retailers, they need to have a good marketing strategy, because they are the ones who will be providing the goods and services to the final consumer. And if they are not able to attract their consumers of the market, it would be really difficult for them to, survive. So you have a lot of people from each and every sphere, as I said. Maybe it's business, is the retailer, could be the publisher of the market, right? The internet providers who keep on talking about, their websites, the email addresses, and etc. Apart from that, as I gave you an example of the non-profit organization, right? See, even the political parties are marketing, and as and when, you have the national elections, right? They're marketing in their own areas. They're trying to make the consumers, influence the consumer decision making, so that, the consumers or maybe the public around, they vote for them rather than voting to the other parties. So even the political parties are doing marketing. Even the education centers, which you talk about, the institutes, they are doing marketing. Higher education is a beautiful example here, right? It's a highly competitive environment, and all kind of colleges and universities, they're striving hard to get the right skill, the right kind of a candidate whom they can really groom up and increase their own competency, right? And how do they do marketing? Because they are trying to make the people aware that we impart quality education, right? So that's one angle of marketing, even the education centers around. The list, if you talk about, it's endless in nature. So we just don't have to get into where and in what aspect the marketing takes place. What we need to understand is that marketing is present in each and every sphere of our life, right? Right, as I said, from the birth to death, whatever you talk about, marketing is all there. Now see, when it comes to the question of marketing, what exactly clicks our mind? There have to be people who need to market. Because if you talk about a company is what? Company is, it's a combination of so many people here, right? Who all work together to determine the success and failure of any organization, right? So marketing is a combination of the right kind of skill set who work in the direction of putting those marketing activities actually into an action, right? It could be maybe those people, you can say, who get into the market, do the market research, try to understand what is actually demanded or maybe what is required by the people around, to the person who will be actually manufacturing those products which has been identified, the need which has been identified by one person there. Or maybe I would say it would again involve somebody like a salesperson, or maybe an intermediary, maybe a retailer or a wholesaler, or maybe the supplier who would be assisting you right from the beginning, where you have taken the decision to produce a commodity and finally making it available to your final consumer in the market at the right time. So you understand, the marketing is involving so many people. It's not just marketing department at all. I have been continuously saying that it's not just a function, you know, a marketing as a function, but it is something which is amalgamating so many things with it. You cannot work without a human resource department, right? Because the human resource department would be giving you the right skill set. It would be giving you the right people to do the marketing activities. And if your human resource department is not working properly, you won't get the right skill set and you won't have the right people to conduct your marketing activities in the market, right? So here what is happening is all these people whom we are talking about, right? They all are influencing your decision making and influencing your actual marketing activity. And ultimately, these people would be the one who would be determining again whether your organization would be a successful organization or not. So we completely understand here that marketing is playing a very important role, right? It is something which is helping an organization to determine its strategy. As I started, you know, my session with, it's all about, and it is giving you a platform. It is playing a significant role over here in determining your corporate strategies, right? Maybe the policies of your organization, right? What kind of a product has to be developed in the market? Or I would say it is also helping you out in determining the right pricing of your commodity. Maybe the right distribution channels will be adopted by an organization, or maybe the right kind of a promotion technique which would be adopted by the organization. See, it is involving so many things with it. It is such an integrated effort, right? So be it a business analyst, right? We always talk about, you know, there has to be a data collection. There has to, you know, have a data determination, its understanding and so on. This cannot be done. The marketing activity cannot be done unless you have a right idea about the right data in the market. Because that data would tell you that what kind of a decision has to be taken by the management. What kind of a technique has to be adopted by a management. So many things interrelated and connected to each other. I hope everybody understands how relevant this marketing is and how relevant it is for all of us to understand, why we need to study marketing. Now, this marketing is generally carried on by what? As I said, the business houses, right? Maybe these are the profit organizations or the non-profit organizations. See, these, if you talk about from the business purpose, from a business perspective, you will always understand here that the ultimate purpose of any business is to create a customer. You are creating a customer. That is the purpose of a business. You trying to create as much of market share as possible to you, right? You are retaining your existing consumers in the market and you are trying to convert your potential consumers into your actual consumers. It's the purpose of business. Now, see, understand over here. I am talking about a business who is interested in creating a consumer, right? So in order to do it, definitely the business would get into a marketing activity. Marketing activity, as I said, involves a lot of functions here, right? It could be a sales promotion, it could be advertising, it could be, talking about its campaign, it could be just positioning of your product and so on. And number two, which is the most important thing, innovation. As I was saying, that every business house has to think creatively and it has to think out of the box. So I think you can just segregate these two into two parts. The business who has a purpose of creating a consumer in the market, and these consumers in the market can be created if your marketing activities are effective and if your business house is an innovative business house. You need to be distinguishing yourself from the competitors around. You need to be unique. You need to be one of your own kind, I would say, right? It's not just selling, because generally what comes is marketing is selling your product. No, it's not just selling, but it involves so many things into it. The entire business is marketing, right? But yes, over here, if you think about the overall perspective, one thing will come in your mind, that each and every business is understanding marketing and innovativeness from only one angle, that is from the consumer's perspective. Because over here, the final result is that you want the consumers to be created, right? That is the purpose of any business organization. I hope, that simple, I would say, explanation of marketing is clear to you. Now, there are a lot of activities which are being performed, like when you want to carry on your marketing activities in a very influential and effective manner, right? There are a number of activities which are related to it. Before I just start talking about these activities, just go through these points once. You will understand any kind of an activity you talk about marketing, it's beginning with the customer and it is ending at the customer again. Right from the first point, if you look at this, the first point, what is it saying? I really need to have an idea about my existing potential customers of the market, right? I really want to identify the needs and the demands which exist in the market. My existing consumers, maybe they want some kind of a modification, so I'm ready to provide them with the modifications. My potential consumers, right, they want to have something new in the market. They would prefer me if I provide them with so and so goods and services in the market, right? So this is number one. Each and every marketer, each and every company tries to identify the needs and demands of their consumers in the market. And I'm again emphasizing on two things here. Number one, your existing consumers, and number two, your potential consumers in the market, right? Over here, what is the purpose of identification of the needs? What is the purpose here? A simple purpose, because if I can identify the needs, I can satisfy the needs. That is my assumption as a company. So therefore, I identify it. Now, what is going to go next? Just go with the flow here. You don't need to learn anything by heart, right? Because this is something which happens and goes in a series of action, right? If I know that this is what is demanded and needed by my consumer, accordingly, I will be producing the products. Accordingly, I will be modifying my products. Accordingly, I will be introducing the changes as required by the market. So this is nothing, but it is a kind of a product strategy which the businesses will be taking. On the basis of what? On the basis of the number one point, that I have understood the needs and demands of my consumers. And this has helped me in creating the product which is required. Now, whatever product has been created by you, it has to be distributed at the right place and at the right time. So you need to have collaboration, you need to have association, and you need to have tie-ups with lots of suppliers and the distributors and the dealers on the market, right? Because that's how you will be making your goods and services finally available in the market. That's the ultimate purpose of the business. See, when it comes to distribution, one has to be very clear that the product awareness plays a very important role. I want my consumers in the market to know, right, that so and so product exists in the market. I'm there in the market, hands up. I'm there in the market with so and so differences, hands up, right? I have the products and features which maybe the other competitors in the market cannot give you. Right? So I have a distinguishing strategy of, increasing the customer awareness and plus persuading them, convincing them, right? Positioning your product in such a way in the mind of the consumer that they ultimately think about you at the time when they make a final purchase in the market. And that's the aim of marketing, right? I I want to be at the top of the mind when the consumers are making a final purchase. There are so many, product in the market. But why is it that one is preferred over the another one? And why is it that one product is purchased over the another product in the market? Maybe because at the time when the consumer is making a final decision, there is one set of product which is there in their mind, right? That is a consideration set. As a consumer, I might consider 1, 2, 3, 4 brands. And out of those 4 brands or 5 brands which are there in my mind, whatever is at the top of mind would be clicked and would be purchased by me, right? So here, keeping yourself in that consideration set is important. Keeping yourself at the top of the mind, in the consumer's mind, is important. Keeping yourself at such a position that the consumers think about you at the time when they're making a final purchase is important. So I hope you all understand informing your consumers, awareing your consumer, making product awareness, your company awareness is important, and then finally convincing them that somewhere you are different from the other products in the market. Here comes a very, very important point. That is the pricing. Yes, definitely, it is an important point because the consumers, they have to pay a price in order to get that product from the market. And yes, the companies will be determining the right kind of a pricing. But what is that right pricing? Just think about it for a moment. What is the right pricing? What am I really ready to pay for a particular product in the market? What really makes me think as a consumer that this is the right pricing? Can I pay rupees 100 for the product which is worth rupees 10? No, I cannot. So do you all understand? Here, the marketers, they have to create the value of their product. They have to really make the consumers understand the previous point which I was talking about, convincing your consumers, creating the awareness about your product. And awareness is not just related to the product you're giving them, about the features, about the characteristics, and about the value. And what exactly happens is, there is a perceived value by the consumers. The consumers think that so-and-so product is or has some kind of a value set. And if this value set does not match with the price, if there is an imbalance, the consumer will not be inclined in buying your products at all. So see how important it is for you to determine the right pricing for your commodity. I hope you understand that. See, price is something which is a kind of a sacrifice a consumer is making, right? It is not only time, price. Here the time is also important. If I'm, buying a particular product from the market, I'm sacrificing, money, the monetary value. I'm sacrificing my time. I'm sacrificing my effort. There are so many things as a consumer you will be sacrificing on, right? Because you want to purchase the right commodity in the market. You evaluate so many options in the market. You're putting up so much effort as a consumer. You're trying to understand which is a good product, which is a better product in the market, because you want to make a right kind of a decision. So see, you're putting so much of, effort, you're paying so much of price, you're spending so much of time. So these are nothing but it's a sacrifice. And if I'm making a sacrifice as a consumer, I think I should get the right value. And if these two things match, just understand yourself as a consumer, put yourself in that category. And yes, you are a consumer of the market. You will always like these two things to be balanced out. And if they are not balanced, you would never be interested actually to purchase the commodity or maybe to repurchase it. And then comes the last option, that you're trying to give them the after sales services, right? Which is of right quality and which is very important. See, understand the consumers, they are the king of the market. And your work does not end just after providing your products in the market. Just making your products available is not the right way. Just making your consumers purchase your product is not just the right way, but taking the feedbacks is very important. You need to have an idea. I mean, this gives you an idea about where you have gone right or maybe you have gone wrong. You need to have a proper understanding about how the consumers have thought about you after they have consumed your product, right? And what kind of opinion they have formed. Because this is going to give you the word of mouth publicity, which could be negative as well as positive in nature. I hope you all understand. So much it has with it. It's not complicated, it is simple, but it is just our understanding which would make it simpler in fact. Yes? Apart from that, there are a lot of things which I have considered, and I really want you to understand over here, that there is a kind of a strong relationship which this marketing department or marketing function has with the other departments of the organization. Because as I said, that marketing is not working in isolation. Marketing involves, and marketing is an amalgamation of so many efforts, so many functions, and so many activities together. Let me just give you one example here. Why am I specifically talking about this relationship? Let's have a clear understanding. Because as I said, that marketing is not just one single function. Marketing is dependent on the human resource department. As I said, that you want to have the right kind of people with you, right? Because if you do not have the right kind of people, these people, if they are not rewarded properly or if they are not trained properly by the human resource department, I mean, these people do not become the asset of your organization. In fact, they become the liability. So see, there is so much of interrelation between the different departments of your organization. How this human resource department would impact is like, it's a very clear-cut example here. Right? And this will definitely determine that how your marketing efforts will be executed by those people who are trained properly, right? And if you follow the right kind of management practices, you will have the right kind of people who would be working with dedication and with motivation, right? So marketing has a very strong relation. Even if you want to take another example, one more over here, you can say the marketing is also dependent on finance department, the finance function here. Because again, the marketing department, because here they would be telling you that what has to be executed and what has to be done. You need to have a lot of financial support from the finance department. You cannot work in isolation. Because ultimately, this finance department would be actually allocating the budget to the production department, who would be ultimately producing the right amount of products, right, to be delivered again by the marketing department to the final consumer. It's a vicious circle. It goes like this. Marketing department starts executing, and finally the products have to be again delivered by the marketing department itself. Each and every department of your organization is interrelated. Nobody is working in isolation, and there is a very strong connection. Here, what I want you to understand, because I'm talking about from the marketing perspective, so you just need to have an idea that marketing is closely related with so many functions and so many departments at the same time, right? They cannot really work in isolation. They cannot work in isolation, and it is dependent on, so many aspects, because it understands that it has to deliver the right value and the right quality to its consumers in the market. Consumers, they are the intelligent people. They have, I would say, I'm saying them intelligent because they have a good cognitive ability. You understand what is cognitive ability? That mindset, that intellectual ability, which makes the consumer think in a very rational way. Consumers are rational. They are rational in the sense because they have the capacity and ability to evaluate everything. The consumers of the market, they just cannot, and they do not, in fact, take the random decisions. They do not. They take the decision on the basis of the critical understanding and the in-depth understanding of the market. They want to see how many products are there. They really want to see how many options are available to them, and whether there is a kind of a value with a price match or not. So consumers are very smart. They have a good cognitive ability, as I said, right? Very intelligent when they're taking a decision, right? So whenever the companies are trying to attract the consumers of the market towards them, they're using the different kind of tactics here, different kind of tactics. And some of the consumers in the market, they are inclined to a product, maybe something which is environmental friendly. Now, can you please link yourself with those kind of products which are environmental friendly, ecologically friendly? A lot of products in the market, right? Or maybe the product has been manufactured in an organization where the people have not been exploited, right? You must have seen, I'll just give you one or two examples and you will come to know that why these companies are using these kind of things, right? The product says not tested on animals. Have you seen that on packaging? Not tested on animals. What does that mean? Just one single line, which is written in bold, has the capacity of attracting the consumer towards itself. This product, or maybe this paper which I'm using, has been used from a recycled sources. Bold line again written. Or maybe from the sustainable sources. Right? Or maybe the chemical which we are using in the product is, these products are biodegradable. Do you all understand? Do you all understand the intention of the companies here? I completely understand. There might be few companies who might be really working like that, and they have the intention of looking after the consumers as well as the environment. But ultimately, this is all marketing. Because you have different categories of consumers in the market. You have the different segments of the consumers in the market. They all have a different kind of a mindset. They all have a different kind of a rational thinking. And you want to attack them from wherever perspective and whatever angle you can. And this is again one of the perspective here. Right? Intelligent strategies. If not this, maybe I opt for this strategy in order to attract the consumers of the market. Right. See, because we are talking about marketing, it is very important for us to understand this marketing mix here. This was actually, when I'm talking about this marketing mix, this came by Khilnani. He was the one who conducted this kind of a research in Harvard Business School, basically. And in his study, he actually concluded on so many things. I'm not coming directly to these 4 P's of marketing right now. Just understand how we have actually, came to this conclusion here. The study which was concluded by Khilnani, right? As I said that he was and the study was conducted in the Harvard Business School. He concluded on a very important thing here. He said that all those business executives, all those management people who are working in an organization, he has termed these people as decider and an artist. Decider and artist. Why am I saying decider and artist here? I'm not saying it. This has been concluded by the study here, right? He's saying that the way you use your art in your kitchen, right? You use a lot of ingredients around to create some kind of a recipe, right? Similarly, when you talk about these, business executives, they use different ingredients around and they cook their own recipe. And sometimes, maybe if those ingredients are not available, they would like to experiment with something new. They would like to invent some new ingredient, which maybe nobody else in the market has tried. Marketing. Maybe there is some marketing funda which has not been used by any other company around. But I want to first use it because I've started thinking out of the box. As simple as that, right? So I am a decider here. I'm using it intelligently. Each and every organization almost has an access to similar kind of resources from the market. I think we all agree to that. Depending on the financial position, depending on your capacity to buy them, right? Keeping that as an assumption, right? We all have an access to the similar kind of resources. Now what exactly happens is, how these resources are used, they are mixed, and what kind of a recipe am I forming? What kind of a strategy, in fact, I'm forming? And will that be effective in the market? That has to be understood. If it is not effective, maybe I make some changes. I use a different kind of ingredients. I use a different kind of a strategy, right? I use a different kind of a marketing mix in order to attract the consumers of my market. So do you all understand? Each and every person is doing the similar kind of activity, similar kind of a work, but still each and every company and each and every marketer is different from each other. This is because it is dependent on his recipe here, right? So that was, he came up with, a kind of a framework where he tried to explain that if we need to be there in the market, we have to play with so many ingredients. What are these ingredients? McCarthy's ingredients, right? A. Jerome McCarthy, basically, right? Who actually developed this 4 P's of marketing. I'll come to the 3 more P's here. Do not worry about this because it is not just 4 P's, but we have the extended version also of it, right? He has divided into, right? But before I come to again these 4 P's, let me tell you, ये McCarthy का conclusion नहीं था 4 P's of marketing, of product, price, place, and promotion. He is basically the person who has regrouped, number of elements which was given by Borden. Borden is the person who came up with 12 elements of marketing. So McCarthy ने क्या किया? McCarthy actually regrouped these 12 elements of marketing into 4 to make it more simple in nature, right? So Borden's framework was actually, you can say simplified by McCarthy, right? And he came up with the product, price, place, and promotion. Is that clear to everyone here? Now, what is product according to you? Right? Just think about it, because I know the chat windows are not open and we're not keeping it open right now because otherwise there will be a lot of messages coming in. So just think about it. Do not answer me. What is according to you a product? I think a lot of you might have an access, or maybe they have studied economics. Basically, this word has originated from there, right? Because we call this product, it's nothing but it's a good, right? It's a good. The concept has taken its origination from economics, in fact, I would say, right? So it is something which has the collection of, right? Maybe some kind of characteristics, some features, or maybe I would say some benefits, which have the capacity to give the consumer some level of satisfaction, right? That is a product, that is a good. If I'm going to the market, if I'm purchasing a good, if I'm purchasing a product, what is the intention? Because I'm looking at some kind of benefits. If I'm looking at some kind of features or characteristics in that product, right? And these characteristics and features will be looked after by me because I want some level of satisfaction. तभी तो मैं उसे purchase करूँगी, right? So here what you understand is, it's a very simple way of putting it, that it's a kind of a good which has the, the mixture of a lot of benefits with it, the value with it, and which is capable of giving some level of satisfaction to the consumers. Now, the next part of it, that is price. Let's not get into detail because otherwise this marketing is going to be because as I said, it's very wider in concept. So we won't be able to finish off with what I have today in my mind. So talking about pricing, though we have, little bit understood about pricing in my previous slide, but I would say pricing is the only element in this overall marketing mix which can produce revenues for any organization, right? It can generate the revenues for any company. It is, let me again put it in a very different manner also. I'm not just talking about the pricing from the economic perspective. Do you all understand what is the relevance of understanding the price from an economic perspective? That is, I am not just considering what is the cost of producing that commodity. I'm not just focusing on that how much cost I have incurred, right? When I was making that commodity or manufacturing that commodity. But I have to see that during that production and during that manufacturing, right? How much value have I created for my consumers, right? Because over here, it is not just the economic cost of production, of manufacturing, but I have to understand that this price has to really match with the perceived value. I hope you remember what we have already discussed, right? The value perceived by the consumer that has to be matched by your price. Otherwise, there will be no acceptability. Why would I accept your product, at some price which I really think is not giving me the value? But here, we as the intelligent consumers of the market, we are interested in consuming those and purchasing those iPhones in the market, which is available at rupees 80,000. And in fact, those phones or maybe those handsets, similar kind of features, or maybe yes, with some distinguished features, maybe they're available at 15,000 and 20,000. Kind of a perceived value with that brand. And that's nothing but it's a kind of a branding strategy by the company, right? Yes, they give you the quality product, but yes, they do not really hesitate charging you a good amount for it. And that's the strategy of the marketer. And how do they do it? How do they do it? How do they create the value which I have been talking about? It is all through the promotional activities. That is the third step here, right? Here, the promotion activities could be, we call it a marketing communication. In fact, you who is doing this mini MBA here need to understand this is nothing but it's a marketing communication. The activities which includes a lot of things along with it. In the sense, you can have maybe direct marketing, maybe you can have the personal selling, right? That is face-to-face selling, or maybe you can have good relationship with your consumers. You do a lot of advertising, right? आपकी e-marketing होती है, word of mouth publicity होता है, sales promotion होता है, what not? This is nothing but it's a kind of a promotional framework which the company gets into. कुछ भी करिए यार, this is just trying to create awareness, right? It is about informing your consumers about what kind of a product you have, and plus inducing them. Can you please go back again to one of my slides where I said it's all about informing your consumers, creating the awareness, right? And then persuading them, that is convincing them to buy whatever you have produced. Promotion, right? And then finally making it available to the right distribution channels at the right place, right? Because you have the wide locations. You cannot make your product available everywhere, but you have to really decide at which location is meant, right? My product is meant for which location, in fact, right? I hope that's a very simple way of understanding what McCarthy has been talking about. Whenever there is, this product, price, place, and promotion, it has some level of or some kind of solution to provide to its consumer. If I am giving a product, I'm giving a solution to my consumer, right? If I am providing a particular kind of a product, what exactly comes in my mind is that I have a customer's problem solution with me. That's why I'm giving you a product. If I am giving a product at particular pricing, I have what in my mind? It's a kind of a customer cost. What I'm trying to make you understand is with 4 P's, you have 4 C's along with it. Right? With the product, you have, with the work, you have customer solution. With the pricing, you have a customer costing. You have a place, that means what are you giving, what kind of a solution are you giving with the place? You're trying to give a convenience to your consumer, right? Because if you are available at the right place, you're making it convenient for your consumers to make a purchase. So with that P, your C is also connected. And if you talk about promotion, promotion is nothing, but it's a communication, right? So with 4 P's, you have 4 C's. The product, which is giving you a customer solution. The pricing, which is giving you a customer cost, right? A place, which is giving you convenience. A promotion, which is giving you a communication, right? So all are connected because each and every marketer understands that if I have to opt for these marketing mix, that means I'm giving some level of communication or some level of connection is there with the consumers around. Now, I would also like to talk about here is the extended marketing mix. Now, this extended marketing mix is, this came by Booms and Bittner. Booms and Bittner, yes, evaluation raha hai. They found that McCarthy has given a lot of, he has done a lot of research and he has concluded on those 4 important marketing mix. But according to him, even these 3 things more needed to be added. And today we call it 7 P's of marketing, right? Number 1, we say people. Now, who are the people? If you again remember in one of the slides I was saying, marketing is something which is involving so many people with it, right? So you have the participation of so many people around, be it your customers or maybe your suppliers in the market, or maybe your society here, or maybe your employees here. So here the basic purpose, if you understand, is it's nothing but creating some kind of a connection or association or a relationship with these kind of parties, with these kind of people around. That's what is people, because they would be helping you out to actually perform the marketing activities and to make your organization either a successful organization or a failure. Yes. So now next comes is the physical evidence. Now physical evidence is whenever we try to look from the perspective of its physical existence, we generally say it is something which is tangible in nature, right? Tangible. So now since you're talking about the tangibility, so it is something which can be touched by you, seen by you, or you can feel it. So that is the tangibility of any aspect, right? So whenever you deliver your products and services for that matter, like for example, you go to a retail store, you go to a supermarket. So, you know, the kind of an ambience or maybe kind of a layout, in fact, I would say, not exactly the ambience. This is something which might appeal you indirectly, emotionally, and psychologically. But the layout is something which you might observe, you see around. So that is a part where you really feel and observe the physical evidence, right? Now, you should not be confused with one thing here. Physical evidence would be present for both the things. Either it is a product or a service. The service will be definitely delivered from some kind of an environment. So what becomes the physical evidence of a service here? The environment in which the service will be delivered. So that becomes a physical evidence in terms of services. So this would be applicable, right? The physical evidence from the product's perspective as well as from the services perspective. The another thing which comes is that the process. Now process is, I would say it's delivering the products and services to the consumers, and this delivery process is a process over here. You know, that delivery which is taking place, you know, यहाँ पे कुछ flow of activities होती हैं, which is helping you or supporting you, right? In order to make the processing simple in nature. Now, when you're finally making it available to your consumers, maybe you're using a credit card, right? Maybe there are certain organizations, maybe the, you know, the retail stores who might be giving you the home delivery services, right? So this is the process in which finally those goods and services will be made available to your consumers. And during this process, you will be conducting a lot of things. As I said, कि आप credit card use करने के लिए allow करते हैं, right? Or maybe they can be Paytm, or maybe they can be home delivery, right? So there are a lot of things attached to it. So this is nothing but it is a process, right? I hope you all are clear with this, because this marketing mix is a very important element. And as a marketing student, you need to have a deep insight. Right from there, when McCarthy has talked about those 4 elements, to the Booms and Bittner's 3 more additions, which makes it the extended marketing mix. I hope that's all clear to everyone. Now, if you remember when I was talking about McCarthy, I told you that McCarthy has actually taken those 4 Ps from the Borden's marketing mix. Borden ने 12 elements दिए थे of marketing mix, and these 12 elements were again simplified by McCarthy, और उसने 3 Ps बनाए marketing के. Let's talk about in brief about Borden. तो आपको एक you will be able to carry forward your concepts that this is how it went with the flow. Borden's, then McCarthy, and then Booms and Bittner, right? So what exactly he came up with? If you talk about the Borden's marketing mix, the product planning, number 1. He says, this product planning is basically related to what? What is product planning? I really want, as a marketer, I need to have an idea because I'm trying to understand the market, right? So I need to be clear about what kind of a product lines am I really interested in offering to my consumers. Definitely, my interest actually depends on what I have identified from the market, from my consumers. That is something which is very different here, right? So I will be planning about what lines to be offered, and in which kind of a market will I be selling my products, at what time, to whom to sell it, and I have to also decide upon the quantity in which I will be selling it. So that's my product planning. मैं old product नहीं deal करना चाहती हूँ, or maybe I want to come up with a new product line, right? So this all is done through the research and development activities which are generally conducted, right, in the marketing department. The second one is the pricing. Which kind of pricing would I be adopting? The margins which I would be keeping for my products. I'll just go a little fast in this, right? Because I have a lot of things to cover. And this is not, these are the things which we have already discussed about. So let's not get into very detail, right? Then comes your branding. Branding would be, brand is something which is distinguishing one company or one establishment from the another establishment. On what basis do you distinguish? You need to have your own name. You need to have your own identity. You need to have your own trademarks. You need to have your own copyrights, right? Which actually makes you a different brand, right? So you need to have your own policies, brand policies. कि आप एक family brand बनना चाहते हैं, right? You will have a lot of other products also in which you will be dealing, right? Or maybe you want to sell out as a private label brand. I hope my consumers, my students over here, they know what is a private label or unbranded products, right? Do you have an idea? Just think about it. मैंने private label के साथ I have used the word unbranded also. Like every one of you might be doing a lot of shopping online. Grofers has its own brand, right? Which we call it as a private labeled brand, right? Big Basket is also selling a lot of commodities with its own name, right? If you go to Reliance, maybe you have your own sushi, maida, drinks and all with the Reliance name along with it, on it. So these are the private brands. These are the, maybe yes, private brands भी हो सकते हैं और unlabeled भी होते हैं, where you do not really put anybody's name, but it is still sold out. जो हम maybe हो सकता है in our nearby shops, जो हमारे mom and pop stores होते हैं. I hope you understand this word terminology here. Mom and pop stores are nothing but when you just move out of your place, these are some physical stores present in your neighborhood, right? We call them mom and pop stores. Those Kirana stores. So they might be selling you a few unbranded items, right? So you have private labels also and unbranded also. Then comes the next part of it, that is the channel of distribution, that which kind of channel do you want to opt for, right? Basically, channel kya hai? Channel of distribution, making it available from one point to the another point. Here, what kind of a channel are you going to plan? So basically, you have to cover a distance from the plant where the actual manufacturing is taking place till it has to reach to the final consumers in the market. So a lot of people involved. आपकी warehousing भी होती है, wholesaling भी होती है, retailing भी होती है. So all it becomes a part of your channel, right? And here the degree, the selectivity, कितने लोग होने चाहिए, कितने intermediaries होने चाहिए, that will be determined. I hope that is clear to everyone. Then comes your personal selling. That means it has to be maybe a face-to-face interaction with the people around, right? And you will be using the different methods in order to convince your consumer. You will be using a lot of advertisement here because your image of the organization has to be properly communicated to your consumers in the market. So you need to spend a lot of amount, right? So हमारा बहुत important burden होता है एक organization पे that it has to involve itself and get into some advertising activity. Right, then comes the promotions, the way you devise your, it can be a business to business promotion or it can be a business to consumer promotion, right? You're just trying to enhance your market visibility to the consumers so that they observe you more than the other competitors in the market. So that's the basic funda of promotion. Aapki visibility in terms of other competitors has to be strong, right? Then comes packaging. Yeah, it is something which is giving you a lot of information about the product, right? It is, in fact, I would say packaging is a silent salesman, right? Because if there is nobody around to assist you, this is something which is assisting you on its own. It's talking about itself, about its own self, right? So, you know, when it comes to packaging, one has to really be very careful about what kind of policies have to be framed, because aap yahan pe ek silent salesman ki baat kar rahe hain, who has to be strong enough, right? Then comes your display, right? Because you know, display has a lot of impact over the consumer's mind, right? So you need to keep a lot of point of sales locations hone chahiye who might you know, attract the attention of those consumers in the market. You must have seen those displays also, like when you were there on the sales counter, on the cash counter, in fact, when you're making the final payment, and there are a lot of counters there by the side, which actually compels you to make an impulsive buying. Aapne socha nahi tha that you will be picking up anything from that counter, but still, because you are making with somebody ahead who's already making a payment, and you just, you know, at the back side, and that time you have a lot of time to browse around because you're waiting for your chance to come. So in that situation, you make that impulsive buying because aapko cheezein dikh gayi, or maybe you are like, chalo, come on, add something more also to my cart. So display plays an important role because it is capable of attracting the consumers and catching their attention, right? Then servicing, yes, after sales services are required, and then you need to have a physical handling in terms of, see, physical handling is that you need to have a proper place where you can keep your goods, right? It starts right from that place where it is manufactured till the place, you know, where it is finally made available to the consumer. So आपके warehouses हो गए, आपका transportation हो गया, आपकी inventories हो गया, आपके retail locations हो गए, and so many other things. So in that physical handling, you have so many things in between. And then finally, the facts, findings, and this would help you in understanding how your business has been operating, right? And you find that how the marketing operations have been effective. So आप देखने की कोशिश करते हैं कि whatever you have done, whether you have done it in an effective manner or not, and whether you have gained the consumer's confidence or not, right? Very, very important thing. So I think we are done with this framework here, right? After that, we have been talking, and generally when we talk about this marketing, product comes to, I would say, in a prominent way in our mind. Let's not ignore the service orientation of marketing here. I really want you to focus one thing here, because I want really you to understand that what is that feature and what are those important things which are basically distinguishing this product from a service, right? So what happens is, it is the inherent intangibility, the tangibility which is inherent in a particular service. Why are we using this? Because whenever we talk about any product or any substance, it has a physical existence, right? Now, when you talk about a product, it is nothing but it's a kind of a material, or it has a physical evidence, right? In terms of that you can touch it and you can feel it, right? But when you talk about any kind of a service, right? It has no taste, it has no visibility, it has no presence, But yes, you can feel it, right? And for consumers, it becomes really very difficult to understand as what exactly have they purchased from a market. I just want to give you a very simple example to understand. You go to a lot of restaurants, right? And maybe when you visit the restaurant, you find the quality of food almost similar. But maybe when you visit a place, maybe the ambience is different, right? And why is it that those elite category of hotels might be charging you something at a very high level as compared to the other hotels who are charging you a little on a lower level? It is just because the kind of services they're providing you, or maybe the kind of ambience they're giving you. This is what it is. It is intangible, but one has to feel it, right? So yes, it becomes very difficult for a consumer to understand basically what have they actually purchased and for what have they really paid. So that clarity has to be there whenever we talk about the marketing of services here. Is that clear to you? So you have to really make your consumers understand that what kind of quality you are giving them, and as a result, this can be actually related to the perceived value. Because if they're paying more, they need to understand what kind of value has been rendered to them. Is that clear to you? Another thing comes is the perishability. Service, just understand it, cannot be stored. If you buy a product from the market, you can keep it in your refrigerator. You can keep it in your storeroom, right? And you can use it anytime you want. Generally, service cannot be, right? It has to be consumed with buying the tickets, right? You're booking a seat for yourself, right? So in that situation, it has to be consumed in a desired time, right? A particular stipulated time, maybe within 7 days or 8 days, or jo bhi aapne apni tickets ki booking karwayi hai, so there has to be some time limit to it. But the product says it does not. Until unless, I'm not talking about those products where you have the expiry date also mentioned to it. So do not get into that again, right? So you need to have the right people who can really make them understand that this is a service which has been provided, need to be consumed in a well-desired time. And there are a lot of marketing strategies in order to make the consumers understand about this perishability feature, right? Apart from that, you understand that, you know, a lot of services, they are quite similar to each other. And it is very difficult to maintain the consistency. And what do I mean by this? You know, I really need to focus on this point. This is a very important point here. See, the service is provided by the people around. As I was giving you an example of a restaurant or a hotel, these are the people who are serving you, right? Whenever you visit a restaurant, right, you're eating your food, maybe there will be somebody who might be greeting you with a smile. There would be someone who might not be giving you a smile at all, right? So the approach which is taken by the different people around is different. So जब हम services की बात करते हैं, they cannot be consistent in nature. They will be different. Reason being, because they are provided by different people around. अगर आपने chips का packet लिया है, definitely if you talk about Uncle Chips, you know the taste would be standard, right? It has a standardized taste. If I'm buying it, I know this is what the taste I want. If I'm going to McDonald's, if I'm purchasing a cheeseburger, I really know that it has a standardized taste, and this is for what I visit that store. If it is not given to me, I would really not prefer to, right? But when you talk about the services, they cannot be standardized in nature. They will be different. And yes, because you know, it is the same organization, everybody is trained. Now there will be a question from you here, because since the people are trained, so yes, definitely they also try to maintain the standard, but still a person is a person, right? Human being is a human being, and all human beings are different from each other, right? So people who are giving you the services, they cannot be same every time, right? So generally talking about it, it would be different. Talking about the inseparability part of it, see, one has to really understand the services, they are actually inseparable, right? They cannot be separated from the person who is providing it, right? As I was saying, that somebody is serving me. So if he is serving me, so that is a service there on my table, right? And if you talk about the last part of it, that is ownership. So that's the basic difference over here. Whenever you talk about, product and services here. So product is something which is giving you ownership. If I purchase it, I become the owner of the product, right? But the services need to be, you don't become the owner of the service, but it is just, it is allowing you to have an excess of it, right? You have an excess of it, right? You use it, you avail it, right? That's what you can do with the services, right? But you cannot become an owner. Now, again, the question comes again, right? If I buy a product and if I, gift it to somebody else, so I do not become the owner, the other person becomes the owner, right? So that is something which is an exception here, because there would be a lot of questions and if and buts which might keep on emerging in your mind simultaneously, right? So one has to understand, if not me, somebody else who has been gifted will become the owner of the product. So ownership यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा different होता है when we talk about the services and when we talk about the products here. I hope everything is clear here. I want to take one important thing because we are in a very different kind of environment and where all kind of market forces are affecting us, right? Market forces in the sense, it's an internal environment of the business and plus the external environment of business, which have a very strong influence on us, right? I know there are a lot of people who are raising their hands. I will be answering your questions by the end of the session. I completely understand. You can keep those questions with you, right? And I will be answering those questions. Don't worry about that. So I want to take up another part of it now. The internal and the external environment of business. Before that, there are a lot of marketing concept. I think that's what my next slide is talking about. These concepts I would like to take up because they play a very important role when it comes to understanding of the market here. I am again saying that again, there are so many people who are raising their hand. I appreciate that you want to be participative in my session. But see, understand if I keep on answering your questions right now, we will be stuck only in the discussion, right? So I can take your questions maybe by the end of the session. All right. So coming back to what I was talking about, I would prefer to take these concepts now. These concepts have been understood from a various angle. From see what happens is यहाँ पे marketing की एक अपनी एक philosophy होती है, right? The way it is conducted, and there are a lot of activities in an organization which are conducted from the various perspective, keeping in mind what is the intention of an organization. Yes, number one, I would say is a production concept of marketing. Production concept of marketing simply says that here the company and an organization has an assumption that the consumers, they will prefer some categories of products which are widely available in the market and they are not expensive at all. This is the production concept, right? So that means here the consumers, they will prefer those kind of products, those category of products that are available in the market very easily and they are not very expensive in nature, right? And now try to understand why do we need to discuss this production concept. Now, all those managers, all those organizations who believe in the production-oriented business, right? Their major focus would be on what? Their major focus would be, as I said, in the production concept, consumers को products चाहिए which are easily available in the market. If you talk about easily available, that means the consumer should have an approach to those products anywhere they go, right? Now, when I'm talking about anywhere they go, I'm simply talking about that there has to be a high level of production by the organization. Now, if my organization gets into the high level of production, right? So as a result, if my production is more, that means my product will be available widely, right? This would also decrease my cost of production because as and when you increase your production, your fixed cost remains same, but only your variable cost increases, right? So as a result, if you talk about the per unit cost, it definitely comes down. Right? So there will be a distribution, a wide distribution of your product in the market, right? And the assumption again would be there that the consumers would be interested definitely in the low prices. So this kind of benefit would be passed on to the consumers also. Kyunki meri costing kam ho rahi hai as an organization. So I would like to pass on this benefit even to my consumers in the market. Right? Yes. This orientation has some kind of meaning. Yes, the organizations get into this production oriented businesses also, right? Because if you talk about those developing countries, right, these kind of developing countries, consumers are generally interested, right, in having an access to the product, right, or having the ownership of the product, then in its features. तभी तो हमारे यहाँ पे Chinese products were in, right? Because they were available in abundance. And if you talk about the pricing was very low, right? Because we know here in this developing country, if you talk about, I want to own the product, right? I want to have an access to the products of the market, right? Then actually looking forward for the futures, whether it is durable or not. Or maybe it can also be, this kind of approach can also be used by those companies who would like to expand their market share, right? That is a production concept. Another thing which comes is the product concept. Product concept is, here what I'm assuming is the consumers would prefer those kind of products which give you good quality, right? Maybe which has a good quality, which can give you good performance, or which has some good innovative features, right? Which is making it distinguished from the other products in the market, right? So this is a product concept. Yes, managers, the organizations, they're focusing on this category also, right? Because they know that there is a different segment of the market. The one segment might purchase at a low cost, but another segment might prefer the quality as well. So if I'm there in the market, I have to cater to the needs and demands of each and every kind of consumers in the market. I'll again shift to the another concept here. Reason being because we're running short of time and I have to really, I feel like completing a lot of things with you today. Another thing is the selling concept here. Now, what is selling concept? The consumers in the market. Now, there is an assumption here, right? This selling concept makes the marketers understand that the consumers and the businesses, right, if they are working alone, or maybe I would say, if they are left alone in another way, right, they will generally do not prefer your product. So therefore, the organization have to get itself involved into rigorous promotion activities, rigorous selling activities. Do you all understand? Selling concept bolta hai ki I have to sell my product at any cost. I know the consumers will not opt for me, right? So what am I supposed to do is I have to put up a lot of efforts in order to promote my product in the market. I have to get into aggressive selling. I have to talk about my product so as I'm considered to be a different, competitor in the market. So that's a selling concept. Anyhow, sell it. You just have to find a way out. And then comes the another concept, that is a marketing concept. That holds that each and every kind of a business, right? And if you want to achieve the success, and if you want your organizational goals to be met, right, you need to be better than the competitors. That's what you do. That's what you do through marketing, right? Because you have to deliver the products, you have to make your things available, and you have to be better than the competitors around, right? So you can do it by meeting the needs and demands of your consumers in a profitable manner. So that's a marketing concept, because you have to prove yourself better than the other people around. Now, there are a lot of things associated with it, because you have to keep in mind that what kind of target market you have to serve, what kind of a customer needs you have to serve. Now, see, when you're talking about a customer needs, I really need to make you understand here, customer के जो needs होते हैं वो different तरीके के हैं, right? something which is explicitly stated, right? Which is clearly stated by the consumers of the market, right? We call them the stated needs. The consumer wants this, clearly stated. There are the real needs. Maybe I can just give you one example here to make you understand. If the consumer wants a very expensive car, inexpensive car in fact, right? So that is your stated need. Real need would be that it's not only inexpensive in the sense that I'm making the initial investment, but I also would like to put it straight that the operating expenses of the car should also be low, right? And I'm expecting that the dealer would be giving me good services. So that is my unstated needs, but I'm expecting it. If they do not give me, I will not be happy, right? And now, if the consumers find good gifts from their dealers, right, it would be a delighted need or delight need by the consumer. So you understand, कुछ needs होती हैं जो explicitly clear होती हैं, and the consumers in the market, they want them at any cost, right? कुछ आपकी real needs होती हैं, कुछ delight हैं, unstated हैं, and some of the needs are secret needs. Secret. I want to own that car. Reason being, I want myself to be envied by my friends around, right? So I have some another kind of feeling in me. I want that psychological satisfaction. I really want people to think about me as a different group, as a different segment. So these are some of the ways the marketing activities, they are in response to what? In response to understanding of those needs and wants of the consumers in the market. You as a marketer, you need to be responsive, right? Because you have to work in response to the market. You have to be anticipative also. Reason being, you have to keep on anticipating the needs and requirements of the consumers around. You need to be creative because you have to come up with something new, which maybe the consumers in the market have not even thought of, right? Where we are today was never thought of where we were, previously, at the time, back 20 years or 15 years, right? So everything changes quickly. Reason being, because the market is changing. So you have a societal concept also along with it, because it's not only that you're trying to understand and pay more focus on about your consumers only in the market, but you want along with it that your society should not be negatively affected. That's the very important thing. What kind of task you, for example, is that you all go to buy burgers from the market, right? But everybody knows it. If you're buying a burger, it has a high content in terms of fat, right? And you're buying fries also along with it, a lot of starch and fat. So what is happening is, and apart from that, the kind of a packaging in which it is provided to you, it is not at all environmental friendly. So what happens is that some of the companies, they come up with those variations where it can also keep its societal marketing concept, right? So if I'm giving you, I just give you one example here. If you talk about Body Shop. So Body Shop is the one which is giving you the commodity, which is a natural ingredient based, right? Right. And these kind of cosmetics does not harm your skin, right? And as I give you an example, not tested on animals, again, making you think that yes, the company is thinking about marketing to a very great extent. Yes, I completely understand. How much time are we left with? I just want to see that there are so many chats here with me, but my take you more things with you. See, there is a very strong connection of what is happening in the external environment and how the companies really need to keep themselves updated, and they need to keep on changing themselves because you're living in an environment which is an ever-changing environment, right? Something which is, which keep on fluctuating. So one has to keep in mind that you have to keep on adjusting your business organization to the external changes, right? So basically marketing is, something it changes itself in response to market changes, right? You are changing and adapting yourself. These market changes can be understood from two perspectives here. I really want you to have an idea about this micro perspective and macro perspective, right? So in micro perspective, I'll just give you an idea to run really fast. I know that. So micro environment and macro environment. The micro, something which is internal, your organization is directly affected, right? The employees, the retired employees, trade unions, and etc. This environment forces, the forces, in fact, I would say here, you have little or maybe some level of control over them. So we call them the micro environment, right? So you have some level of control over these, the forces which I have mentioned here, maybe to your suppliers, to your intermediaries, to a customer, because you changed the demand. And then apart from that, if you talk about the macro environment forces, you generally do not have control over these forces. So we call them some distant forces over which the organization generally do not have a control, right? So these are some of the forces. You just need to have an idea of it, because I'm not really taking that in detail. Now, I just want you to understand one thing here. Since I'm saying that a company is generally influenced and it gets impacted, right, with a lot of forces which are taking place in a business environment, internally as well as externally. So one has to really see that there are a lot of economic cycles or business cycles, right, which are taking place in an economy and which has a direct impact over your marketing activity. I would like to take a few of them with you, right, over here, the important ones, in fact. See, what happens is there is one thing which is known as recovery. This is what I'm talking about, business or economic cycle, which is very important from the perspective that you as a marketer, you need to understand in which kind of a business cycle am I working, am I operating? Because this kind of a business cycle would really help me in designing the right kind of a business strategy for my business. Now, number one, if I say recovery. See, I'm not going to take a detailed discussion on them, but just giving you just an overview about what is this recovery phase. See, this is basically a situation where the economy is either moving out of what? Out of a depression maybe, or maybe out of a recession time, right? Maybe your economy has not seen very good time and it is in the phase of recovering itself. Now, what kind of a phase is this? It is the phase where maybe here you have few signs of growth. I would not say, there will be too many of them, but yes, few signs of growth. And maybe your organization has now started feeling good. Maybe your organization has started feeling that now there is an improvement phase which has started coming. Maybe when you talk about the retail sales, they have started taking their own pace, right? So again, that is a sign of improvement. Maybe there is an upward trend. And when you talk about the manufacturing industries around, maybe the output is increasing, right? And when you talk about the public, the people here, they have started spending again. That means I'm talking about the per capita income of the people. Maybe it is more. The disposable income is more here, and people have started spending more, right? So at first, if you look at it, here the consumers, they are trying to recover from a very depressed phase of the economy, and they have something which is making them feel good. And this feeling good is making them spend more, because they have started having more money in their hands, their per capita income has started increasing, right? And the economy as a such is recovering from a depressed or a recessed phase. The another thing is, which is known as boom. Boom is basically, I would say, it is followed by recovery. हमारी economy ने एक upward trend लेना शुरू किया. Now this upward trend has basically resulted into, some kind of, you can say a phase which is very distinguished, which is very happy. And now the economy has started working in its full capacity. The economy is showing such wonderful signs that maybe at one point of time, you would be a great performer in the market, right? And this would affect your economy in a positive way. So your overall product, all the services which is being performed, produced by the manufacturing and the service industry has started taking more demand, right? And over here, because you have a lot of production going on, see, understand, unemployment bhi nahi hoga, so unemployment will come down. So this boom phase is jahan pe aapki now economy is working in a very good phase, right? Khub production ho raha hai. So as a result, unemployment will definitely come down, right? But one has to keep in mind, unemployment come ho raha hai, production increase ho raha hai. So if you talk about the money flow, it is going to increase in the consumer's hand, right? If this money flow is increasing, see, understand, overheating ho rahi hai yahan par, right? Because consumers, they are increasing their spending, right? They're not only increasing their spending, but उनका debt level जो होता है वो भी increase हो जाएगा, क्योंकि उनको पता है right now let me take a debt which can be paid later, right? Let me take a credit also. The debt और credit का जो system है वो भी बहुत rise हो जाएगा. So in such a cases, in order to protect such kind of economies, right, from coming down, in this case, the banking institutions, maybe the central or the local government, right, they start regulating their economy by increasing the interest rate. ताकि ज़्यादा money flow नहीं हो, right? ज़्यादा overheating ना हो जाए, and what we are expecting in terms of positive results कहीं negative ना हो जाए, right? So that's the phase which is tried to be controlled by the people around. Another, everybody believes in the steady growth. Probably, I would say that's the aim of the government here, right? Economy has to grow slowly and steadily, right? All kind of industries, be it manufacturing and the service industries, they have to, invest at a very steady pace. Invest bhi kariye, purchase bhi kariye, but anything should not go in excess at all, right? जो भी आपकी जो government है, they also monitor to a very great extent the kind of growth rates here, right? जो marginal होने चाहिए and should not be affecting your economy, right? Marginal होने चाहिए. Again, they would be interfering, the government here, so that again the overheating does not take place, right? The government, I would say, they will either increase or decrease the interest rate according to what is happening. Either when the money flow is more or money flow is less. So they keep on observing the market, and accordingly they keep on curtailing that money flow from the market. I don't want to get into those technicalities right now here, but I just want to give you an idea that why am I discussing it here? Because each and every person needs to understand that this is how the economy works, and these are the phases of our economy, and this would have a direct impact on how the business would be designing their strategies. Talk about recession. Recession में क्या हो रहा है, right? The growth comes down, the GDP comes down, right? Maybe हो सकता है आपके investments कम हो जाते हैं, manufacturing output कम हो जाता है, and I would say business, they do not work, in terms of their, full capacity, right? So this generally happens. So you have to keep this in that everything has to be in balance. So recession is basically giving rise to the unemployment. There's if you talk about the spending power, it is coming down, and you're trying to hold a market share. So there are a lot of companies who would be striving hard to get as much of market share for them. That's what is happening in recession, right? Things are not going proper. Yes, I would be just ending the session. I have started receiving the messages now, right? I'll just cover up with these two things here because they are important for my students to understand that how the other phases of economy are also equally important when you are taking the decisions here. Stagnation and depression. Stagnation is basically where the economy is, stable. It is stationary in nature. जहाँ पे वो grow भी नहीं हो रही है, decline भी नहीं हो रही है. Let's leave it here. Let's not get into the details here because I know we are falling short of time. Let's talk about a depression also here, right? Depression is nothing but it's a downturn, right? Downturn हो जाता है and बहुत unemployment भी होता है, poverty, and the company is not working properly and a lot of failures. Right, I completely understand. I have taken a lot of time and I need to end up my session here. So coming to your questions, let me take few questions here. Yes. Okay, so I have received one question here. See, one person is talking about, I knew it, this question is going to come out, COVID-19. Do you really feel this is affecting our marketing activities? Yes, COVID-19 has a very strong impact. But let me tell you one thing, our economy, according to the research which is done, our economy will be taking its own phase. There is always a recovery phase, which is either in a U form or in a V form or in a W form, right? V form simply says if our economy has come down, it will immediately take its phase, right? And it would take some time, but will again go back to the same level. U says our economy has come down, will remain constant for some time, but then again take its phase. And in Indian, if we talk about it from the Indian context, it is going to take a little time, but it will go back. And it is not a depressed economy right now at this point of time, right? It's not a depressed economy. It is an economy which will take its own time to go back to normal. So हो सकता है थोड़ा सा we have started touching the phase of recession, but this would not continue for a long time, right? So we are not in W form कि हमने देखा it is coming down and then there is a false assumption that it started going up. आपने जैसे ही assumption किया it has started going up, again you fell down and then you start moving up. So it's not W, we are still in the phase of U recovery form. It's good. Yes, marketing strategies are changing rigorously. People have started coming up with a different kind of, platforms here, right? In the sense that you must have seen a lot of online platforms on which you take the classes and etc. Right? They have started changing their strategy. They have come up with some kind of, I would say, those platforms which would benefit those students who are studying from home. Right. So you have a lot of changes taking place. Those industries who were never into the kind of a product, right? They were earlier. Now, this is the time when everybody has started thinking new, from new perspective, from new angle. Yes. When we talk about the service orientation, right? There's a question over here. You see, the services, they are generally tend to be similar. Right? If I'm going to some place, I have to really understand that the services which are being provided to me might appear to be same to me, but maybe those people are charging different rates from me, right? So my services have to be, linked with the value which I'm receiving from that service, right? So they appear to be quite similar to me, but when you see the ambience, when you see the level, when you see the quality, they might be different from each other, right? So that's the heterogeneity, the similarity between the two. Yes. Yes, can I have? Yes, I generally refer to a number of books around. I refer to Philip Kotler, right? I just have one consumer behavior also because I keep on reading a lot on consumer behavior. So you can refer to, some of the books here. I can show you Marketing Philip Kotler, right? This is the Bible of marketing. The Bible of marketing. You can always refer to this book. And the strategic management is again important because this would help you in understanding by Fred and David, because this would help you in understanding how these market situations, they change and how the companies, they devise their policies and they devise their strategies according to these changes, right? So even strategic management is important. So as a marketing student, आप सिर्फ marketing management की book नहीं पढ़ेंगे. There would be so many things, the consumer behavior, right? And everything you need to study because otherwise you will not have the in-depth knowledge. Right. So I know that I have taken a lot of time, but seriously speaking, I have not covered whatever I intended to cover. Right. Consumer behavior book. There are a lot of here. As I said, there's one from this. Peter and Olison is also good if you want to refer to consumer behavior. Yes. Peter and Any other question? Yeah, I think you all can leave the session. I have no issues with that. But still, if you have any questions, I would be here to answer them. You can all leave the session. I'm done from my side. Yes. What's your take on digital learning? Digital learning is important and everybody is working on that. Even at Taxila, we had those digital marketing classes, and we keep on organizing a lot of seminars and webinars on digital marketing. So you're always welcome. Just keep on updating yourself with whatever we update on our website, and that would be really beneficial for you. Okay, there's a question coming on. What is the difference between recession and depression? See, depression is a very intense form of recession, right? If recession is not dealt properly, or if it results into a lot of unemployment, or maybe there is something which is, poverty, and there is a lot of unhappiness, and things are not moving in the right pace, and if it is not controlled at the time of recession, it might get converted into depression, right? Depressed economy is depression. Let me tell you, in 2008 also, right, our economy went through a very bad phase, right? Though we took around 14 quarters to recover it. Generally, in recession, we generally take around 7 to 8 quarters, in fact, in order to recover, right? So it is basically how much time precisely is required to be back to normal. So that is again, will be a distinguishing feature from what is, yeah. So anything else? Online course for marketing, small courses. Generally, we offer the full-time PGDM program. We do not give those online questions. How can we prepare ourselves for MBA during lockdown? See, you have to keep on updating yourself, because this is the best time, I would say, that you can attend a lot of webinars, you can be a part of a lot of online courses. So keep on browsing that what might be beneficial for you as per your interest area, right? So you have to keep on developing. See, if you're saying marketing and sales, see, sales is just a very small component of marketing, right? It's a very small component. You have so many things along with sales which constitute marketing. So yes, sales is just one part of it. And if you do a lot of other activities, the marketing activities, as I was talking about, doing a market research, understanding your consumers' needs, and then preparing the product accordingly, selling it out, selecting the right distribution channel, taking the feedback from your consumers, right? That all constitute your marketing, sales, promotion, advertising, and so on. Okay. All right, students, see you tomorrow then. We have one more day. I prefer to take, I would like to cover whatever I left today and plus whatever I intend to cover for tomorrow, right? Okay. Thank you so much.